Gather around, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a very brief episode today. You're listening to Ensayne Comics. I'm your host, Haiden Sayne. And the last couple weeks have been stupid hectic for me. And for a myriad of reasons we don't need to get into, but long story short, I have failed you listeners, as I did not read our book club selection for this week, which was Stars and Stripe, the first few issues of that. And as such, I've battled the idea of not even releasing an episode today. But in the past projects, I have done that, and I don't really want to do that again. So, I finally decided that to go ahead and produce something. And at the same time, also make fun of the comic industry, especially corporate comics, but making a 0.5 episode instead of a full episode. Which, I'm doing my best to work out a better schedule to meet as many of my creative and fitness goals as I can. So hopefully the weeks ahead will be a little more consistent. If not, well, you might be hearing more 0.5, so fingers crossed. Without further ado, let's briefly, keyword briefly, discuss this week's new releases. Now, each episode I pick at least 5 comics scheduled to be released that week that I find interesting for one reason or another. Now with Free Comic Book Summer, instead of Free Comic Book Day, of course, on the way, I'll share those titles with you, those weekly titles as well. Okay, first up, Everything Will Be Okay, number 1. Published by Caliber Comics, written by Matt D. Wilson, and art by Joe Hunter and Rodrigo Vargas. Now, this one is a post-apocalyptic tale about a brother and sister engineer team who work to keep the space station that homes the last, or houses, I guess, better, as the home of the last of humanity operational. This sounds really neat, and it kind of reminds me of a concept I'm actually working out, which has to do with fleeing the Earth, as the state of it becomes unbearable. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting tons of stories like that in the years ahead. But I'm excited to check this one out. Next, Amazing Spider-Man, Sin Rising Prelude, number 1. That one's written by Nick Spencer, art by Guillermo Sana, and published, of course, by Marvel Comics. So this book seems to be about the serial-killing spider-villain known as Sin Eater, who I was actually unaware of, in fact, until I saw the cover of this book, which captured my attention, which is exactly what a good cover should do. Now, Sin Eater, he has a simple purple jumpsuit kind of deal with a green balaclava and a shotgun. So that seems just visually kind of cool. So I'm very interested in getting acquainted with this character. Another green mask character, we have The Green Hornet, number 1, by Scott Lobdell, Anthony Marquez, and published by Dynamite Entertainment. Now, I've been a huge fan of pulp or proto-superheroes like The Green Hornet, and for the past 5 or 6 years probably. With a Mask, I think, was the kind of my introduction. That series was kind of Avengerized, those heroes that Dynamite had the rights to. That might be a book club in the future. Well, we shouldn't have been talking about book clubs. Jesus, I can't even adhere to the current ones, so I don't even think about future ones. But anyways, Dynamite has consistently put out some really awesome stories with these guys. And the premise of this one sounds wild. But it's really neat, too. So, apparently, the Hornet and Kato will be taking care of an alien baby that crash lands, Superman style. Now, I was initially kind of put off by this idea, because you're adding sci-fi elements to a street-level crime world. But, the more I think about it, the more I think it could be kind of cool and just, let's do something crazy with Green Hornet to maybe grab the attention of people who haven't got into it. And also, I really love Marquez's cover, which features Green Hornet holding that aforementioned alien baby. And it's really neat to me from a color standpoint because it's all black and white, except for the very faintest of green on the Hornet suit. So, there's a few times, and I probably just need new glasses. I do need new glasses, but anyway. I was curious if it was I seeing things? Because it's so faint. I was like, no, it's just black and white, but it's actually very subtle amount of green in it, and that's super cool. Next, we have My Name is Air, number 1. published by AAM Marcosia, art by Valentina Fiora Perla, and written by Massimiliano Grotti, which, that's an excellent name. I'm definitely stealing that for fiction at some point. Massimiliano. It's sick. But My Name is Air is an all-ages fantasy comic featuring a world divided by the elemental forces of earth, wind, air, and fire. Wind and air. Oh my god. What idiot wrote this? Earth, wind, fire, and water, of course. Wind and air. Very nice, very nice. Speaking of elemental stuff, Avatar: The Last Airbender has rightly been trending on social media, and often it's been in Netflix's top 10. Where they have, I guess, most viewed, I guess, for the month or week or whatever, or maybe day. So this might scratch that itch for fans of that series. Finally, from Image Comics, we have a book that I am ultra excited for, which I didn't even had absolutely no idea this book was even in the works. So that was quite a thrill seeing that this was coming out. From John Layman and Dan Boltwood, we have Chew, C-H-U, Chew, #1. Now, I'm a huge fan of the original Chew series, which followed the adventures of Tony Chew, the psychopathic FDA agent who could learn the history of anything he eats. And really cool. You should check that out if you haven't. Oh my goodness. Another book, what in a fantasy world where I do book clubs, that's definitely going to be one at one point. And, as such, being a fan of that series, I'm really stoked to get my hands on this book. Now, this new series is about his sister, Saffron Chew, who is a Cybopar, I believe, if I haven't misspelled that. Meaning she's able to learn the secrets of anyone she eats with. So rather than whatever she's eating, she's learning about whoever. I wonder how that's going to work out. Like she has to share a table with them, or how close she has to be to get that. But she's getting secrets from them. But that could be really interesting. Now, what's interesting is, very nice. Double interesting. It's very good. What's kind of neat is, Tony Chew is a cop, and his sister, who, if you've read the other series, we see all his other, or many of his other siblings. I don't think Saffron was actually in that. Anyway, Saffron is a criminal. So that'd be interesting to see how that, goodness, my favorite word. Very nice. Now, I think I was maybe one story arc away from finishing the original Chew, which, if you don't know, that Chew is C-H-E-W, whereas this one is C-H-U, Chew. Because the character's name is Chew, his last name, but then, it's it's spelled in the way you chew food. I'm not sure what it's not phonetic. I'm not sure what that would be. Interesting. I can't think of it to say interesting. And I'm definitely planning to finish that before I start this one. The only bummer about this series, is that the original artist, Rob Guillory, Georgia native, maybe not native, but he's actually from Savannah, I want to say. That's pretty cool. Got a huge shout out to my boy. He is not involved in this, at least from the first couple solicits we have for this. But, I know he's doing his own stuff, so, power to him. Very nice. Now, that's it for the regular selections. So, here are the free comic book summer choices we have for the week. From Aftershock Comics, we have Dark Arc Instinct by Cullen Bunn and Wan Do. Manhwa Contemporary Korean Comics by a host of artists and writers, a ton of them. Valiant 2020 Year of Heroes Special by Tim Seeley, Joshua Dessart, Jason Masters, and Doug Braithwaite. Horizon Zero Dawn by Ann Toole and Anna Molina. And Spider-Man Venom #1 by Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, and a few others. Now, one quick bit of news. How cool is it that actor Keanu Reeves is making comic books, if you didn't know? With artist Alessandro Vitti and co-writer Matt Kent, who, if you've ever read, he's done some Valiant stuff. And a bunch of, he's done some spy kind of stuff like that. Anyways, but with those guys, Reeves will make his debut in the comic medium with Berserker, that's B-R-Z-R-K, which is about a centuries-old demigod who kills for the U.S. government in exchange for secrecy about his existence. I'm definitely on board with this. You got supernatural fantasy stuff, Black Ops stuff, which I've been really interested in fiction-wise anyway, not in the real world, God. And then you got Keanu co-writing it. So that's a win-win-win for me. I'm really interested in the preview for it. You know, the summary of it. It's saying like he's half mortal, half god, but it's spelled, I don't know if there's a typo or whatever, but it's capital G, which is, you know, the god of the Judeo-Christian Muslim tradition. You know, the people of the book. He normally has a capital G, whereas, you know, gods from other pantheons have lower G. So I wonder if that's, you know, that was just an accident, or is that, you know, by design? Divine design. But that's scheduled to come out in October, with a preview being shown at the Boom Studios Discover Yours panel on July 26th for the digital edition of this year's San Diego Comic-Con, which unfortunately does not exist in its traditional format because of that thing that has taken so much from us this year. I've actually never been to a convention. I almost went to a Savannah one about a year or so ago. I was thinking about going this year to Savannah because I remember George Newbern, who voices Superman in the Justice League cartoons, was going to be there, and I can't remember who else. So I was seriously considered going to my first comic book convention, and then disaster. That's all right. At least, you know, this way it's free to see some of these panels. So that'd be nice. So, unfortunately, that's going to do it for this episode. Yeah, man, I'm out. You know, I'd like to apologize for the length. I have apologized for the length many times. Other lengths. But hopefully, sorry for that joke as well. But if I can stick to the schedule that I've got planned, I should be able to get on track. Well, maybe a few derailments from time to time in the future. Hopefully. So, anyway, you know, join me next week to discuss the first few issues of Stars and Stripe by Jeff Johns, Lee Moder, and a few others. I know Robinson did at least one issue that made that zero. I can't remember how much of that he's not. But anyways, join me for that. So until then, thanks for listening, and hope you listen again, should you dare.